Thank you, Team AIOS, for this opportunity. I'll just be highlighting a few conditions where we see sudden dimness of vision, which can often classify as an ophthalmic emergency, and hence they need to be looked at quickly and managed even quicker. So when a patient presents to us with a sudden dimness of vision, the questions we need to ask him or her are, how did they notice it first? And is it transient or is it persisting? Also, we need to ascertain the presence or absence of pain so that we can classify what condition it is. Let's just highlight a few conditions that we see commonly in the clinic. Vascular occlusions are the commonest causes of sudden diminish of vision. First, the veins. They can either be a central or branch vein occlusion. Patients who are observant might even give us a history of having had a similar episode 1 or 2 days prior to this actual episode. And they can have a history of hyperlipidemia, diabetes, hypertension, and other lifestyle disorders. We all know a vein occlusion presents with the venous dilatation in the fundus, hemorrhages, edema, and vascular stasis. The treatment, of course, is with anti-VEGFs, which are established due to their safety and efficacy. A focal and a scatter laser may be done in certain indications. In cases of non-resolving hemorrhages or TRD, a vitrectomy is mandated. Iris neovascularization risk factors are often accounted for by FFA, but what are the clinical pointers? First of all, if the patient has had a poor vision, like say in counting fingers, or if there is copious intraretinal blood with large areas of whitening which show ischemia, and large areas of neovascularization which are already there when we see in late cases of vein occlusion, these are the pointers for the patient developing NVG or pointers for iris neovascularization. We also need to differentiate here between collaterals and new vessels per se, so that we can plan the further treatment. The other questions that we need to ask ourselves here are, is any other diagnosis possible here? Like, is this just a vascular occlusion, or does the patient have any immunocompromised status? Can this be a viral retinitis? Does the patient have anemia? Can this be anemic retinopathy? Is there any macular edema? And what is the extent of the retinal ischemia, which prognosticates the condition that the patient has? So it is easier to plan for the treatment and also counsel the patient. Retinal artery occlusions are devastating for the patient and the treating doctor too. There is sudden vision loss. Here also the patient can give a history of a similar episode. We know that the retina is pale, totally pale with a cherry red spot. Although managing the patient as early as possible is our goal, still the prognosis remains guarded, and IOP lowering by various means, either oral acetazolamide or IV mannitol by AC paracentesis, and ocular massage does go some way in helping the patient. We must here rule out hypertension, hyperlipidemia, diabetes, carotid artery diseases, and other cardiovascular diseases. I'm going to amaurosis figures next, because this is the commonest symptom which can progress to the previous two conditions that we discussed. This is often loosely expressed as a transient visual loss, and although we might not see particularly anything in the eye at that moment, there are various conditions which can be found out even when we evaluate a patient with a transient vision loss. Often these are harbingers or pointers to a more serious systemic problem like a cardiovascular event or a stroke. And so a patient's quick workup for these conditions is mandatory. Often monoocular lesions of these kind are either due to ischemia of the retina, the choroid, or the optic nerve. And these areas must be looked at more with a fine-tooth comb to rule any of these cases. If the amaurosis is lateral, then often it is due to cortical lesions, and so cerebral and a cardiovascular workup is mandated. Ocular trauma again can cause a sudden drop in vision due to both anterior and posterior segment complications. Very often, anterior segment findings like hyphema, cataractus lens, or which can impede the view of the retina. So also vitreous hemorrhage. B-scan is mandatory, and we can find retinal tears or detachment and choroidal tears and detachment in these cases, and each condition needs to be treated separately. Vitreous hemorrhage can cause, again, a sudden drop in vision. This can be seen if the patient has diabetes, hypertension, trauma. And here it is important to know the immune status, because when we look for other findings in the eye, whether there's neovascularization if there is any pain and IOP pointing towards neovascular glaucoma or other causes of glaucoma. And if any part of the retina is visible, we must try to make it a point to rule out if we can see some vasculitis, which can be attributed to that vitreous hemorrhage. Retinal detachment, we have already seen about flashes and floaters before. So retinal detachment is another cause for sudden loss of vision. If the detachment is not complete, the patient can give peculiar history, like difficulty in climbing down stairs where the inferior field is involved. There can be a history of trauma. We must note the refractive status of the patient here so that it is easier to plan for the type of surgery and the procedures or maneuvers that need to be done. The important pointer here is the management of the fellow eye. Since one eye has already developed detachment, the other eye also needs to be managed more effectively. Uveitis, both anterior and posterior, can cause, or of course, intermediate can cause sudden loss of vision. Mutton fat KPs point towards cyclitis. We must look for them. We must see if there is vitritis and associated choroiditis, which often needs a thorough systemic and ocular workup to find out the cause and treat it effectively. Blood streak hypopyon points towards a viral etiology. We have already seen a few slides and photos about central serous retinopathy. So also this can cause a sudden loss of vision. This does cause significant and lasting scotomas and is very troubling to the patient. FFA needs to be done here, where we can find if either ink blot, smokestack, or sometimes even a lack of pattern of the leak. Laser photocoagulation to this focal leak is effective, although it does not reduce recurrence. PDT is very effective since we now know this is a choroidal disease. Eplerenone has been used for a few years now, but a recent study in 2020 has discouraged us from using this owing to lack of effect. AION again causes serious vision impairment in middle-aged patients, especially diabetics. It can be arteritic and non-arteritic, and whether in either of these conditions, fellow eye is often involved very quickly. The prognosis is poor no matter what treatment we do, but still immediate diagnosis and treatment is required. We should expect some curveballs too, like old case whom we have already treated. The scar is stable and suddenly has drop in vision. There can be an active CNVM or even reactivation of the old scar. Old vein occlusion who is already treated can have a new arterial occlusion and the sudden drop in vision. Myopic CNVMs are especially difficult to document since OCT is not confirmatory. OCT doesn't do many findings. The patient's symptoms of fundus fluorescence angiography will help us diagnose a myopic CNVM. And with recent corona and other viruses looming around us, post-viral neuroretinitis with macular involvement should also be kept in mind so that we do not miss these findings. These are a few things that I've tried to highlight here to avoid repetition throughout the day. Just this photo to help us triage in our mind presence or absence of pain, and is the vision loss transient or persistent.